Welcome and thank you for joining us today for Truro Town Council's Committee of the Whole for Thursday, September 18th, 2025. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. I, Kathy J. Henton, Mayor for the Town of Truro, acknowledge we are Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. We acknowledge the peace and friendship treaties and recognize we are all treaty people. We recognize African Nova Scotians are distinct peoples whose histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched this part of Mi'kmaq, known as Nova Scotia, for over 400 years. We recognize the Acadians who lived in harmony with the Mi'kmaq, whose communities across the province are a living testament to the fortitude of their ancestors who survived the Grand Arrangement. Today, as both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, we commit to seek harmonious and mutually beneficial relationships. We give thanks to the elders and knowledge keepers. Council, the first item is the approval of today's agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda today? Seeing none, I'd call for a motion to approve the agenda for September 18th, 2025. Councillor McGrath, seconder, Councillor Pryor. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Contrary-minded, agenda is approved. Thank you. Item 2 is the approval of the draft committee of the whole minutes from July 17th. That sounds like a million years ago, 2025, at the committee of the whole meeting. I'd call for a motion to approve the minutes from July 17th. Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Pryor. Any discussion on these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Contrary-minded, motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item number 3, we are pleased to see Ernest Asante Coriante with us today to talk about the Truro Asante Community Solar Project. I haven't seen you since I think chamber dinner, so it's nice to see you again in our chamber here today. So come on up to the microphone, and I'm going to put the light on for you, and we look forward to hearing to what you have to say today.
I invite Howard to come with me as well. Okay.
And if you could just identify yourself for all our millions of viewers. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone, and nice to see all the familiar faces. My name is Dr. Ernest Asante Coriante. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. So I'm the founder and CEO of Asante Logistic Group, which is a logistic company that is based here in Truro. We do businesses all over the world, but most importantly, that everybody can relate to, we purchased the old carpet factory about 5 years ago. And the goal of it was to really bring some vibrance when it comes to logistics into Truro. I've been in Truro for 15 years now. Knock on wood, everything that I touch has been successful and seems to be going very well. Came here as a student to study for my master's and PhD, but found business to be very good in Truro, so kind of branch into business. Apart from Asante Logistic, I also have a few other operations, which is Verfa Agri-Food Innovations Inc., doing vertical integrated farm, helping with the community when it comes to good food, when it comes to microgreens and sprouts. It's still at the initial stage of it, but we're making good progress when it comes to innovation. And the last one that we also into is a development company called Aquaba Development. We have at least a project up on Young Street that is in front of the town for approval. So we're getting our hands in several things. The reason being that core of it is that I believe that Truro has given me so much when it comes to the 15 years that I've been here. So it is my way to be able to contribute back to the community. So every project we touch is with the heart that we can create the vision that we all look for in Truro. To get into this project, the Truro Asante Community Solar Garden, it came up about, I would say, 4 years ago when we purchased the building and realized that it's not just an indoor space. We have close to 400,000 square feet, but we also have a whole roof, flat roof that we have to deal with. And it was in really pristine condition. And so the thought had always been, how do we put that to use? Because I saw space for a living, and every space that I own has to deliver value. And one of the things that we've been thinking about had been a solar farm. And so about 3 years ago, I met SCP that would introduce themselves and worked on a project that is closer to Truro. We felt that it would be a great partner to look at this. And about a year ago, I found that the town, funny enough, had also been connected to a project maybe 10 years ago that was looking at some solar panels on that building. But the then owner was not really interested in that. And 10 years after, we took over and really pursuing that. So it was really a fine fit when we realized that and felt that if really the town had an interest in that project, then we need to look at a project that is community-based that we could work with the town on. And our partners here are here today, obviously, to present the project, but also to show their depth knowledge in when it comes to solar fields and be able to deliver such value to the community. So really that has been the genesis of myself, connection to the community, as well as the reasons why we want to do this project. And we're happy here today to talk about it and answer all questions. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
So my name is Howard Liu. I'm from the Sustainable Energy Platform as a partner of Asante with Ernest. So as Ernest has described that we are here to present to you our plan for this community solar garden. I'm here with my colleague, our CEO and President Carlos Fernandez, and also our Director of Business Development, Don Hunter.
Welcome.
So today what I'm going to go through is quickly just a little bit about who we are, and I'm not going to spend too much time on that. We'll leave this with you to see who we are and the project we have done. But I want to drill down into what is a community solar garden, and then how does it benefit Truro, and what are we proposing to the partners.
Mr. Hu, can I just get you to move the mic
Oh,
and you just
yes.
speak in there? That's
Sure.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So in this project here, we are a partnership of 3 entities so far, and what we're seeking is the town to be the 4th partner. So it's Asante Logistic Group, us Sustainable Energy Platform, and also the Truro Black Community, Cultural Communities group. So we're together to put this project together that we want to utilize Asante's logistics rooftop to create a solar garden. Our experience comes from many years of, of solar installation, operation, and maintenance, mostly in Ontario. Our CEO and founder, Carlos Fernandez, and the whole team has over 25 years of experience in installing solar and maintenance solar program in Ontario, and also some in Mexico and also USA as well. So we'll be more than happy to provide any reference as needed. Quickly drill down into what is a community solar garden program. It is a program that is administered by the Department of Energies, and also is being backed by the Nova Scotia Power. So essentially what will happen is we will build a solar garden, and this solar garden is connected to the NSPS grid. Anybody who is on a NSPI customers, so anybody who is connected to NSPS grid can subscribe to this solar garden. And while they subscribe to the solar garden, they don't have to be connected with physically, as long as they are part of the grid. And they will get a discount on their bill. And at the same time, the owner of the solar garden, us, will be able to sell this power back to NSPI for prefixed fee, and that they will pass on that saving back to the subscriber. So that's the gist of the community solar garden program. NSPI announced this, I think, early last year, 2024, and there has been 3 projects that's been approved already, and there's a total of 100 megawatt of allowance where we are trying to be part of that. Just going through some of the benefit for community solar, and I'm sure that you have seen some of this, and you have seen some of this benefit already from some other engagement with other community solar gardens. Essentially, that we are bringing more cheaper powers to everybody around the communities. Anybody who will wanted to go solar and also be part of NSPS grid, they don't have to actually install a solar panel. They can just be a subscriber and can claim that they are 100% renewables. Also, we are promoting a clean energy resiliency of the grid in this space here. So, because once we build this garden here in Truro, it is injecting power, for lack of better terms, injecting power back to NSPS grid. So it does improve the resiliencies of the grid. And finally, of course, it is in Truro. So the name of the garden will have, the solar garden will have a Truro in it. So it is promoting energy leadership of the town of Truro. We will be here, we'll be working with the local job market, creating, because we will have to not just build it, but operate and maintain it for the next 25 years. So we are looking to see any possibility or any opportunity to work with local communities, whether it's schools or trades, to make sure that we employ local job creations. And of course, at the same time, that the residents who subscribe to it will enjoy a lower rate of energies. And it is a possibility that the owner, the city can be part of the owner, then there will be an economic benefit of it. Environmental benefits, we are helping to reduce the carbon footprint of the entire Nova Scotia grid. As we know that there is a very progressive mandate from the government, the provincial government wanted to try to go to 80% renewable by, I think it's 2030. And we are constantly helping to see if we can be part of that mandate. And finally, when we look at the entire communities, it is important that we can all support the climate goal together, and then also we can expand really to get the community to understand the importance of having a renewable, the importance of reducing carbon footprint in the communities. So what is this project about? And maybe I want to go through a little bit of what is the project, where is the project, and then come back to our ask. So the project is going to be on the rooftop of Asante Logistic. It is a 2.1 megawatt DC system we're proposing. We have already put in the applications to NSPI, working closely with them to make sure that we can, on a technical side, we can get approval from them and get support from them. What we're doing here is, once this has been built, we're projecting a 2.7 gigawatt hour of energies. That is enough to power 250 homes in Nova Scotia. And all this is available for subscribing from different entities. And of course, in order for us to get this going through, we will need to work closely with NSPI. There is a little bit of items that we're working them in terms of the hosting capacities. And a path moving forward is looking for fundings and looking for partners like yourself to make sure that we can push forward the projects. So far, as we say, the partners, there's Asante Logistic, Sustainable Energy Platform, and TBCDA. We have get verbal commitments and also discussion later from Mosaic Credit Unions that they will be our financiers. And we have also got commitment from GDI Ainsworth, who is the parent company of SEP, Sustainable Energy Platform, to fund the rest of the project. So we are coming with 100% of the funding. So I want to go back to our ask. Our ask of the town is for the town to be part of our partnership. And there's a couple of reasons, because it is in Truro, and it won't be complete without the town of Truro being part of partners. So that's number one. And number two is, having the town being part of this, you can help us to promote the community solar garden much better into the communities. And also, there are also a lot of different funding options that's only available for entities of such as the town that we have no access to. And this will help us to be able to build the system a lot quicker, be able to access the different funds, and be able to have a more successful projects. So jumping up to the final, next step here is, we'd love to answer any questions that you may have, and also understanding your position about partnering. We do have a MOU prepared already, that where we can present. That MOU is part of the requirements for submitting the applications to for it. So and then after that, we'll start committing all the work, and then start going through the projects.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop now and see.
Thank you very much for the presentation. What vision. I love the part when you said in your presentation, Truro, a clean energy leader. I like it. It's good. So I'm very impressed with this presentation, and thank you very much. So I'm sure we have some questions. I know one person will probably be lighting up that, and there it is, Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's well known that I am a supporter of solar. I have solar panels on my own house and get to see firsthand the benefits there. I do have obviously a few questions. We have been looking at a partnership with the municipality of the County of Cumberland for a solar project, and one of the things that has come up often was about the funding, the financial viability of the project, and partnering with a private company because they can access tax breaks or monies. Investment tax credit, thank you, Mr. Dolter, that we can't access. And then you mentioned in your presentation funds available only to the municipalities that you can't access. So it feels a little bit strange to hear both sides saying like, oh, but you can get money that we can't. And it makes sense for a partnership perspective. But I would have to, and I don't know if this is information you have today, but I mean, we've talked about that other project, the financial viability of it seems a little bit suspect in some certain cases. What is the financial viability here? What is the risk to the town if we were to partner? And what is the benefit? What's our risk-benefit analysis, I guess?
So just to get a bit more clarifications, there are preliminary work that needs to be done, technical due diligence that needs to be done, where there may be funding that's available to the town that we can access to get those studies done. So the funding is to the study, not to the actual building of the solar array. For the actual building of solar array, the access to ITC, 100% agree. That's something that we will have access to, and we fully expect to be relying on that to make the project financially viable. And in terms of risk and benefit analysis for the town, in this case, we are not seeking the town to be an equity owner. We're seeking you to be a partner. So we're not seeking equity contributions. And there are some discussion internally that we're saying that as a benefit, maybe we can save 20 or 25% of the capacities for subscriber for the town, for your own building, or for the resident of Truro, and that is really to help us to make sure that we can give back to the town. And at this time, in terms of financial viabilities, we are gracious enough that Mosaic Credit Unions is agreed to help us to finance a big part of it. And our parent company wanted us to do this because it's the right thing to do, so they will pick up the equity piece.
All right, excellent. I look forward to getting more information on all that. Thank you both, gentlemen, for your presentation.
Thank you, Councillor McGrath. Councillor Graham.
I'm just wondering, you mentioned that it could power up to 250 homes. How do you become a homeowner, one of those 250 people?
Yeah. So part of this program is we need to manage what we call subscribers. So once this is being built, we will have to go out to the public, and there is a form they need to fill out to be a subscriber. Once they are a subscriber, and the NSPI will automatically deduct 2 cents from their bill.
So what would be the criteria to become a subscriber?
Anybody who has an NSPI account can become a subscriber.
I imagine there'd be a lot more interested people than 250.
Yes, there will be a lot more. That's why we need more. This system is a 2 megawatt system, and NSPI is calling for 100 megawatt right now. So I'm sure there will be a lot more other community solar garden project that's coming along.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we want to do this project because this is on rooftop, and the rooftop is only a certain size. We can't go onto a big, like a ground mount where we can do 5 or even 10. But a rooftop is something is already there. Like Erna was saying, we're not disturbing green space. We are actually using an industrial rooftop that's already there. So that's why we really want to do this project.
And I wanted to also add a little bit. So with the subscription, any customer that is in Nova Scotia can subscribe to any of these projects. So anyone living in Truro can subscribe to any project within the province. They are not limited to only the Truro project. So if somebody couldn't get on our project, they could get on another project that is in a different community, so far as they are in Nova Scotia. Yeah.
Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I might even be in a conflict here, because I don't know if you noticed, one of the partners is the Truro Black Cultural Development Association, and I belong to that group, and that is the group that is working on building a community space, but it fits in with our vision. Like, we see our building as being a green building. We're probably gonna have a roof that will have gardens and things like that, so this makes a lot of sense about us being able to access this type of power without actually having to put the panels up. So I don't know if I'm in a conflict, but I'm fully supportive.
So Madam Mayor, the subscriptions are similar to when we went through the Cumberland project, to which we currently have, council agrees to pause on that. It's similar to that arrangement. So when we were going to do our subscriptions, we were looking at, we have a number of residents that we give low-income tax credits to, and that's the criteria we were going to use for the 600 subscriptions that we would have had through our program. So again, if council were to agree to support the project, and there was some of those subscriptions available to us, that's probably what we would use as well too. We would put that out to address some of the energy poverty that we've identified within town. So again, that's just one of the alternatives that we could look at. So again, it is, I guess council does have some familiarity because of the Cumberland project, and unfortunately we've paused that for now. So again, and I think the private sector investment certainly provides certain advantages because of the way the program is currently structured.
So I'd assume when the time comes, there'll be a formal request coming in for a request for decision?
Yeah, so what we plan to do is this is kind of the information we wanted, certainly council to hear directly from Ernest and and the companies to hear what the project was about. And we'll bring a request for decision to council in the October meeting, just to, on whether or not to support and include Truro as part of the one of the partners for the project itself. So again, we wanted you to get that firsthand so you can ask questions.
Well, this is Councillor Talbot, I see your light blinking.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this does fit in with council's vision, because we have signed on to the climate, right?
Indeed. Well, look at Truro just moving ahead. I'm telling you, never been so proud to be a Turonian in my life. It's great. I want to thank you for coming today, and we look forward to the request for decision coming forward, and hopefully good things to happen from this. So thank you very much for coming today, and I'm sure everybody who's watched this presentation is now intrigued by what's coming down the pike. So thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
Council, we're going to move on to our last agenda item today, and we're going to be joined by Rochelle Owen to discuss the business case for the district energy in downtown Truro. So come forward, Ms. Owen, whenever you're ready. Have a seat. Thank you for being with us today. And just push the button there and it'll go green, and then I'm gonna, there we go.
Excellent.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. There's a PowerPoint somewhere there, and thank you for allowing me to attend today, and happy 150th anniversary.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate all the trees you planted, and in fact, I was taking note of your methodology for deer protection, because I wanted to plant a mountain ash, and I was like, how am I going to protect it from the deer? So you've done a great job.
Well, welcome, and we're glad to have you today.
Yeah, thank you. So, is this me? No, there we go. Okay, great. Excellent. Well, thank you, and I'm back for the second time around. I was here with East Point Engineering on the energy and emissions plan, and I'm here today as myself And I'm working with Net Zero Atlantic, which is a nonprofit organization in Nova Scotia and works in Atlantic Canada. They do a lot of work around large wind energy systems, geothermal, and planning for the future there. I'm also working with FEB. They're a internationally known engineering firm out of Toronto, and we work together on the biomass cogen up at the Dal Agricultural Campus. So I've been working with them for a number of years. Their expertise is in district energy, and they led the district energy construction of a number of systems, including Markham District Energy in Canada. So here I am today to talk to you about, we're applying for a grant program, and so we're not asking for any money, we're just asking for your interest to see if you're interested in what we're
Could you say that again? You're not asking?
We're not asking for money. That's exactly what. So district energy, basically it's just a set of pipes usually in the ground, and they connect buildings. And those systems can be small and large. So at Dalhousie, all the campus up at the agricultural campus, all the buildings are connected to hot water pipes that we upgraded in that $25 million project up there. And many military campuses across the country have district energy. So it's just an efficient way to, if done with hot water and other systems, to bring in an underwater distribution system. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And so in Nova Scotia, there is potential for more renewable energy-fed district energy. And of course, the town passed the energy emissions plan in 2024. And we're working on an assessment for Nova Scotia. And so an assessment would look at what criteria would make it helpful in Nova Scotia municipalities to do district energy. What is the business case proposition? What are the cost benefits? What are the affordability benefits? And how can we help municipalities in Nova Scotia look at this opportunity? And so if you look at Spring Hill, for example, they're sitting on a lot of hot water. That's a great example of an opportunity. We're going to have to transition from fossil fuel over the next 30 years, so how do we do that in a meaningful way? And so we have put in a grant application to the Sustainable Communities Grant for Nova Scotia. We haven't heard yet, but so that's my first thing, is we haven't heard back, but that's the main grant. And then we want to basically work with certain municipalities to investigate further. I have a good understanding of Truro and the agricultural campus and different nodes. So does FEB, because they were the engineer at hand and have different projects. So if we were to go ahead, we would apply to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. They have a number of grant programs. One of them is the Community Energy System Grant. And what we would do is we would use if we were successful, the money from the first grant and match it with this grant. That's why we don't need any money from Truro if it was successful. And that would give us an ability to look at the downtown, because we know that there's clusters of high density buildings. We know that there's waste heat in Bible Hill. We know how to get it here. We know you have new developments. We know you have the hospital lands. So even a district energy within the hospital lands with geothermal is an example. So the grants that are available are up to $100,000 for a business case and up to $200,000 for a feasibility study. My conversations with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities is that grant fund is not as well used as some of the other funds. So the questions that, if we did go ahead with the study, we'd look at what in the downtown Truro area, what quadrants have potential for district energy, how would you potentially build it out over those periods of times, what are the benefits, what are the risks, and I think critically, what is the governance structure? Because a lot of smaller municipalities or even mid-sized municipalities, it's hard to get that capital to do that type of project. But there are different ways you can structure it with private sector or public sector. And what are the benefits environmentally and socially with some of these systems? So again, no cash requirement from the municipality as we're applying for grants. The key group that would be the grant leader is Net Zero Atlantic. And we would, as consultants, I'd be working with FVB and Net Zero Atlantic. We would ask that we could meet with your staff to make sure that they're kept in the loop, that we could gather information, maybe even meet with whoever you'd like at that point. And we would talk to different parties to gather information, and we would make sure that you were in the loop. The project will only go ahead if it's successful from a grant point of view. I'm here today sort of out of personal interest in applying to the grants, but they would be the funding stream. So the risk to you, I guess, of thinking about participating in this project, it's pretty low risk because there's no cash down. We are a North American leader in district energy, our team. We have experience in Truro. We know members of the staff community and some of the you all that we interacted with. So I think from a legal compliance point of view, you want to make sure that we do a good job and give you an engineering study that meets a certain requirement. Net Zero Atlantic is a nonprofit here, and they have a connection to many different organizations. So that's kind of a quick risk analysis. And so the timeline, if we were successful, we'll know probably in September or October if we're successful with the first grant. And then if we are, and then if the town is on board, we'd apply for the next grant to do that funding. If we got that money, we would take about a year to do that business case and potentially feasibility study if something came up that you were interested in exploring. We already know there's an opportunity with waste heat from Dalhousie, just because it's a cogen, it's a system there, and we know the loads. So that's kind of the timeline. And I just, I used to present to the board of Dalhousie all the time, so I used to craft the motion. So there's a motion. But it's basically, if we were successful, we would just ask for some staff time to make sure that we're connected with staff and everybody and make sure reputationally there was no overstep on our part. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Owen. Are there many other towns looking at this as well, or?
I think yes, across the country there is, and in Nova Scotia, there's already existing district energies with pretty much any university in it, so the 10 universities. The military are doing some upgrades to their systems, and then for new systems, I think, Spring Hill may be looking at something once they finalize. So I think part of this is we're going to help do an analysis for people. Not everywhere in Nova Scotia is advantageous to do a district energy. Why I'm here today, Truro, is because Truro is pretty dense in a small area. And so unlike some smaller mid-sized communities, they're not that dense, they're spread out. So really the key to district energy is densification and distance to energy sources.
I see two of my councillors have got questions from the queue. Councillor Graham?
I'm just wondering, with your application to FCM, would a letter of support or endorsement from the town be helpful at this point, or is it already probably too far down the...
No, we need your support and we need your letter.
Yeah.
So maybe we could make that part of the motion as well.
Yeah.
Well,
That's provided.
so just the process, so we bring it to, again, as well to the October meeting, and part of the motion, in addition to what was said, is that, I guess goes as an understanding that is supporting and saying we're part of it. The letter of support would be a key part of that for the grant. So that would be, the partnership existed, right?
Sent to FCM.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, just making sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Owen, for your presentation, and good to see you again. Questions, obviously, you were talking about the densification is the key to success, and obviously in Truro, we are sort of limited geography, but a lot of densification, especially downtown, more coming with the Stanfields projects that have been approved and, hopefully breaking ground in the next year or so, we would hope. What would the plan look like, or is it still too early to say? And who are going to be the primary beneficiaries? So if we're saying, for example, that the downtown shopping district, Prince and Inglis and all around here, we've got mixed use of commercial and residential. Are they going to be the beneficiaries? If we're talking about the big Stanfields development, there's hundreds of housing units that are going to be created there. Are they going to be the beneficiaries? Like, how can you just go into a little bit
Sure.
deeper dive? Like, who benefits and how?
The first thing from an engineering point of view, you would look at your loads and your distances. And it's very quick. You would draw a circle and go, okay, this is the municipal building sector. Then you have your school system over here, and then you have your rink, and then you have the Stanfield development, and we know we have this much waste heat. We already know the gigajoules from there. So we have a good sense. So what you would do is just do that initial matching in the business case and see where you have available energy, and then that would tell you who would make sense to connect up. And you could, it's clearly the downtown would be the first kind of node, but there might be other nodes, like when I think of the hospital lands, even if you're not there yet, or if the town if they put out a planning memo, the planning memo could be something like, hey, we want this to follow our energy and emissions plan. By the way, this is a way you could achieve it at a lower cost than doing, individual propane units, for example. So it would start there with that analysis, and then that would dictate who would be connected.
Okay, so when you're talking about these nodes and these districts, you mentioned like a municipal building node or a schools node. So are we talking like, I don't know, I guess like an actual quadrant grid, like everybody in this quadrant is one node, or is it like, oh, well, we'll connect, say, the farmers market, town hall, the Legion Stadium, because those are municipal,
Right.
and those are a thing, and then there's overlap with, say, Stanfields is in the middle there, so then they are a node, and then the school is also down in that area with the stadium and Stanfields. Like, is that a separate thing?
That would be all part of the business case analysis.
Okay.
And, in Denmark or Europe or whatever, they, 70% of their houses and buildings are connected to district energy, right? So if you were starting fresh and you had support for this, I almost think of it as like roads, right? Like for trying to do energy affordability and connectivity, you would connect all the houses and all the buildings in that quadrant, because then why try to put that on every individual household to try to decarbonize if you can do some sort of agreement? Now, that being said, that's more challenging, has a lot more political elements to it than connecting Stanfields.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting Stanfields with the waste heat from the agricultural campus, hypothetically, we already know what that might do. And so that's an example of a simple one. If the hospital, again, where it's a greenfield site, brownfield site, greenfield site, you could put in very high-level ideas on how to make that happen and come to fruition. In that case, yes, you would want to connect everything in that quadrant because it's more cost-effective at that point.
Mm-hmm. And so then the benefit here is basically lower energy costs for people in this district energy system.
Lower stabilized, I would say. I mean, ultimately, everybody wants lower energy, but I think stabilized, like if you look at the agricultural campus, it's sawmill residue, they have waste heat they need to get rid of. They're using cooling towers. So if you can use that actually is free heat. Now, they'll want to charge for it, but it's going to be stabilized. The biomass is usually pretty stable, so that's one of the advantages there. We could talk about energy security and electricity with that too, and there's some benefits around that. But.
Just so not to get down too far the road, I know you're talking about a study. So for it to be feasible to get started, you'd have to have a critical mass of customers that would be prepared to sign on to even to make the initial investment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
And that's so.
And with a certain load, obviously, requirement.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the likely loads are Stanfield's and the municipality's existing loads and the province existing loads. And from a simplicity point of view, that makes it easier from a governance
Yeah.
because you're not individual homeowners or that kind of.
Yeah, it's a lot of pipe. Interesting, when I was in Newfoundland, the Kruger paper mill in Corner Brook,
Right.
we worked with FVB and we looked at the feasibility. They had a huge amount of waste heat, still do,
Yes,
and tried to connect that up. The problem we had is getting the university in that case to buy into it,
oh,
and they would not make the leap.
oh, I wasn't there at the.
Yeah, I guess not. You probably would have been very convincing. But I
Well,
mean-
you know, I go there a lot because my dad's in Pasadena.
Oh, is he?
And
Okay, there
every
you
time
go.
I go by the mill, I go, why aren't they
Oh,
capturing
yeah,
that
the-
waste heat? You get, or Tufts Cove,
Yeah,
right? You could heat North Dartmouth with
and you have a perfect corridor in Corner Brook to go right up
right up the hill.
right uphill to the university and government buildings and everything that are right there, but it didn't.
Yeah, would have been a good project.
Yeah, so Mr. Dolter's getting ahead of me a little bit, because I was gonna ask about subscribers, you know, because we were just talking about subscribers with other projects, so how people would get involved in this project. My last question is more about sort of, I guess, more technical impact, like if the study, you know, is approved, the business case is approved, we get the actual implementation. How are we connecting all these pipes? How much road are we digging up? How much sidewalk are we digging up? How much stress are we causing our new director of public works for things that he's got planned that maybe is this throws another wrench in there? What would be the infrastructure impact?
Well, yeah, you're digging up roads. Like in Halifax, when I was at Dow, we replaced the 1.5 kilometer line from the Tupper Building, if you know where that is, all the way downtown to the Sexton campus, 1.5 kilometers in downtown Halifax. And basically, yes, you're ripping up the road, putting in, or in that case, replacing the steam tunnel with the hot water. To get across the Bible Hill bridge, you'd go under the bridge. You would attach the pipe under the bridge. So, yeah.
Good thing about this type of pipe is because it carries heat, you don't have to bury it deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like trying to bury water pipe or even sewer pipe. It's, you know, it's pressurized and it carries well. So again, you have to have a certain amount of depth, but where it bears heat, it's not going to freeze on you.
That's right. And we do have experience in this area because they did 1.5 kilometers up at the agricultural campus from steam to hot water, and they use local contractors to do that work.
So if it's carrying heat, does that mean less impact to snow clearing operations? Is it going to melt the snow for us?
That would be bad if it was, because that means you're losing all that heat into, and that's how, you know, when I first, you know, Dow merged with the agricultural college, we knew where the steam lines were, because in the wintertime, you were like,
I was laughing when you're talking about the military, having been on many military bases in my career. You can always see the nice green corridors, even in the middle of winter, all through the bases, because again, they've been there since probably the 60s, the central heating plants. And yeah, they lose a lot of heat through the ground, but it's because they're generating so much heat as well too, that they could afford to lose it. But
yeah.
yeah, it did work well though. It was a great system.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and let's hope that Mr. Browning has a chance to weigh in on the impacts to his plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Our CAO loves to talk about his military memories, and he's a wealth of knowledge, so there we go. Our final speaker is going to be Counselor Talbot. Counselor.
I was waiting so long, I think I forgot my question.
Hit your button, there we go.
But yeah, I'm not really clear on your business model, and I know it's early days, but the infrastructure to me looks like it's going to be quite costly, and you're going to have some model to, you know, recoup and make a profit. Could you talk a little bit about what that might look like?
Sure. I'm not in the business to build stuff. I'm in the business to support public sector and nonprofits to do energy planning. So where I step out usually is I work with clients like municipalities and nonprofits and universities in the planning stage to figure out if a project's viable and how might you finance it and what the governance might be. So in that regard, our group has no vested interest in the model for building something, because we step out. We're planners and finance thinkers, but we don't do that. So, but to your point, it is very high cost, capital intensive, which is why they're hard to build, even if they have all these benefits. So in other municipalities, the municipality have created a energy corporation, a municipal energy corporation. That's one model. Another model is like Enwave in Toronto. Enwave would come and build it and then sell you energy. So you pay through it by paying your energy subscription. So that's another model. And there might be a quasi. So there's probably three or four different governance model. Of course, at the university, they build and own, and they run it, and they get the benefits of that. In the case of that project, the ComFit agreement pays for the project.
Thank you. I stand corrected. I had a late light come on for Councillor Pryor, her last question.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned digging up roads.
Yes.
Who is responsible to pave them afterwards?
In a project like that, it would be the project. It would have to be in the project cost.
So it's not the taxpayer?
No.
The town?
No. Yeah.
Thank you.
The business case would have to carry that cost. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I wish my Deputy Mayor Thomas was here because he would have really enjoyed both of these presentations. He's away today. I want to thank you very much. It's lovely to see you again, Miss Owen.
Yes.
And thank you very much for your presentation. Very informative. And we look forward to the request for decision probably coming up in our October Public Council meeting.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you so much. Thank you. So this now brings us to the end of our Committee of the Whole meeting for September 18th, 2025. I want to thank our presenters today and everybody in the chamber. Our next Committee of the Whole meeting is going to be on Thursday, October the 14th at 6 p.m. Please continue to be kind to each other and be kind to our town. And I can now say the Committee of the Whole meeting for Thursday, September 18th is now adjourned at 4:46 p.m. Thank you.